Hey design friends, this is Editor-in-Chief Cindy Allen here, aka Cindy with a C. But today, I want you to give me a B. Give me an I. Give me a G. Oh yes, our big April issue is all about the next big ideas, spanning every segment from commercial, residential, hospitality, health and wellness, and more. Our design giants, like Lois Goodall from CBT, agrees. She says, new ideas are flourishing to address the seismic shift in our culture. We're drawing on cross-disciplinary design to reimagine solutions for our clients. Like workplace is informing multifamily residential, hospitality is influencing the workplace, and biophilic design is benefiting all. So, Interior Design Director at Perkins & Will and the IIDA Southern California President-elect. Hi, Mina, how are you?
I'm great, Cindy. Thrilled to be here with all these phenomenal women. So
Yes.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yes, me too. Okay, Rebecca Moses, designer and artist, world-renowned artist. Rebecca, how are you, honey?
I am so excited to be here, Cindy. I'm always happy to be with you, but I'm so honored to be with the whole group.
Exactly. Aisha Bursell, co-founder and creative director of Bursell & Second, author of Design the Life You Love. Hi, Aisha. How are you?
Hi, Cindy. Super happy to be here.
Yes. Me too, you guys. Pascal Sablon. I get you all to myself in different ways, but then putting you all together is fantastic. Pascal is she's a new associate at AJ Associates, but she's also the founder. She's an amazing advocate for others, founder of Beyond the Built Environment, Say It Loud. She does, every time you turn around, she's creating a new way to support and bring people together. Hi, Pascal.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Really excited about this conversation.
And then we have Suzanne Tick, CEO of Suzanne Tick. She's a Vedic meditation teacher, creative director of Loom Textiles. She is unbelievable. Suzanne, where are you?
Am I here? Or you don't see
Oh,
me?
yes. I see you. I see you now. I see you now.
All right.
Hi, girls. How's everybody doing?
Super well.
Good.
Wonderful.
Oh, good. All right. So this is how we're going to start. We're going to start by Aisha, we're going to start with you, and
right.
we're going to do just a brief. Let's see if this can work. Okay, so for everybody out there, I want you to see the work of these unbelievable women, and then I want to get us all together and really have a nice big old chat. But I want you to see the work first. So they're each going to give you kind of a Cliff Notes bio of their career, and then we'll go from there. All right, so. Let's start with Aisha. Where are you? I don't see you, but where are you?
I'm here.
You are? Okay.
I see you.
Okay, good. All right, let me see. Let me do the gallery. Gotcha. Okay, now I see you. All right, so Aisha,
Perfect.
we first knew you as in our industry as a very, very well-known product designer, furniture designer. So this is give us kind of a brief notes on that, and then how I kind of say you have two careers going at the same time.
Yes, I am an industrial designer by day and then designer of life by night. How about that?
Right. Oh, I love that. I love that. So you're really well known in our industry. You work with the likes of the big furniture companies, like here we're showing Newcraft, and then there's Herman Miller, and then also in the bigger sphere of world that hits the consumer, like IKEA. Take us through a few things.
Yeah, just like you said, Newcraft, Herman Miller, IKEA, Toyota, Amazon, Facebook, Target.
Oh my God.
you name it. You've probably sat in something that we've designed, or kind of held a potato peeler that we've designed, something. Yeah.
Yes. By the way, the potato peelers are pretty cool. Amy, you can go to that slide too. Like the whole set.
Yeah,
in fact,
Delish.
Yeah, for Delish, right, exactly. but then the course of your career, actually, it's like it brought the best out of you when during a downturn, right? And now, and we'll get to that, but now you also are the author of Design the Life You Love. And you tell everybody that you share and mentor a lot of people all around the world.
Yes, so Design the Life You Love is really my process, deconstruction, reconstruction applied to our life. And it started as an experiment because I wanted to see, once I had the design process, whether I could apply it to my life, which I think is our biggest project. And then it grew word of mouth. It became a book, it became a program, and it's transforming lives of thousands of people across the globe. And now we have a virtual tea that we do on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, 5 p.m. New York time, I'll do a little invitation to everyone, whoever wants to join us. And Cindy, you were our amazing guest on that as well. So it's our COVID programming.
Yeah, you know what was so nice about the tea too is that, you know, she has just the nice people on this tea, but then there were so many people that that like, oh, I know, you know, like, and actually people who follow me on Instagram, this first time I was like seeing like Denise Rush, she's fantastic, and she was on your tea, and then we got together subsequently. Also,
Love
you
it.
do these incredible illustrations, and you had told me something that touched me very much was that when you were writing the book, you actually you wrote the book, and then you said, wait, but that's not how I communicate. I communicate through illustrations. So then you rewrote the book only with illustrations.
Yeah, I love that you remember that, Cindy. I drew the book the second time around.
Right.
I first did the drawings and then I wrote about the drawings. Yeah.
Right. And that kind of changed. I mean, when you told me, I'll never forget, because it was like your talent in communicating was that way. And I would venture to say that's why it's so successful.
And, you know, I'm trying to write a second book, and I'm trying to remember that, because I wrote it. I did the same mistake again. I wrote it, and now I'm like, no, this doesn't work. So now I need to draw it.
Wow.
Yeah. You think I would have learned the first time, right?
Oh, well, you got to keep teaching others and yourself, right?
I know. And this is my virtual hug to you, Cindy, for bringing us together, and to everyone here around the table. I miss you all, and I hope we can all give each other real hugs very soon. But in the meantime, this is the virtual hug.
Thank you. I love your virtual hug. I love it. Mina, come in, you know, Mina, you know, what's so interesting is being a woman leader in a big firm, because that's not always so easy to do either. Now, I know that you were working for Gensler for a while, and now you're with Perkins and Will. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, thanks, Cindy. So I started with Perkins and Will in 2005. And, you know, I really developed my design ethos at the firm. It was very much about learning from some incredible women that, you know, sat beside me, and I evolved through their leadership. And so it isn't easy being at a large firm. And I always think about it as I have 2,700 friends at Perkins and Will. I really started to understand that, you know, working with people that really understand you and what your deeper drive is in the industry is really important. And I've just been fortunate to have phenomenal women around me to be able to kind of grow in a large firm like Perkins and Will. But it was always my deeper aspiration to be an interior design director with a firm of such level of design excellence as Perkins and Will. And I received that opportunity back in 2015. And from that time on, I became a partner with the firm. And, you know, I think the firm itself is very much about elevating individuals and elevating creatives. So I think I just felt like I found the firm that works with my personal brand.
Yeah, I like Perkins and Will keeps getting better and better, I would say. And I think the big firms, and something we'll talk about, is allowing like
younger, more diverse voices to be heard these days. And I know that you are a big advocate of that, and also amazing mentor for so many. So we'll dig into that as well. Yeah, because these big projects, they're hard to get done, and also to lead and find your own, like your own personal aesthetic, right? Yeah.
So true. And I think that's what's so incredible about the environment I've kind of developed my design ethos in, is kind of, it's a collective. Nothing at Perkins and Will gets built by one person, but it's finding out that right slice of genius that you're bringing to the table, and you're able to lead these complex problems and projects. So I'm excited to dive a little bit deeper into that with you later.
Okay.
Thanks, Cindy.
Okay, we will. Okay, who's next? I think Suzanne. Suzanne, I've known Suzanne for many, many years. Oh my God, but I never saw this picture of you, Suzanne. How cute are you on the left here?
1980s hair right there.
Yeah, so cute. Oh my God. But this, you continue, and this is the thing about like such strong, amazing women is this constant growth, this constant change. And that is something I want to talk about with you. But let's first sort of give your Cliff Notes version too. This is early on weaving. You love the weaving, right?
Yeah, I mean, I started out with Boris Kroll and Barbara Nymark, the woman in the middle next in between Susan Lyons and I. We all worked, we all started our careers at Boris Kroll, and I became his weaver, his personal weaver, and started in construction development. Anyway, Barbara basically shepherded me into the firm. She totally took me under her arm after my first interview with her and really showed me how to, get the job. And this is my studio. There's 6 people. 5 women and 1 man. And so we all work together. We all, share the excitement of weaving on the loom, and we're all textile designers, 1 marketing person. Very, very exciting kind of work that we do every day. We're always evolving our products. We start from scratch, we start with the fiber. And not a lot of people do that in the industry anymore, but we get to build fibers and grow that way. Yeah, this is carpet.
Wait. I got to tell people that when you go to the studio, like when you were just saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, just because somehow I thought like we would see this, but you go into the basement and then she's got the looms. Like, it's so cool. So cool. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. We have the loom upstairs and the top level and the studio underground. We have 2 looms. I do my personal weaving upstairs, and then everybody works on the lower loom. But yeah, I've been in the industry like 39 years in the textile side and about 18 on the floor covering side. So this is some work. This is some of my textile work for Loom. I'm the creative director of Loom, and started that business in about 8 years ago, and really enjoying it with really a big tilt towards environmental materials, and very kind of in perspective, like we select very few products. And then I work with Skyline Glass, which is always fun with Charlie. I'm on my 4th collection with them, been with them for about 8 years, and really excited about that. And then this is a kind of a pivot to my personal art weaving projects. And I was asked to submit a proposal for the Temple Emmanuel in Dallas, Texas. And I knew that there was this Annie Albers piece, which is on the left. And I flew down there just to see the piece. I was like, you know what, if I don't get this project, I'm totally fine because I really want to see Annie's work. I followed her my entire career. She would be like, my pole star actually. Anyway, so my piece was in a small sanctuary. She's in a very, very big sanctuary in the temple. So I was honored to be side by side with her.
Yeah, that was amazing. I remember talking to you about it was so such an exciting time.
So this is some of my work that I've done during COVID, and this is taking the the MoMA moon charts and chopping them up and creating weavings, you know, every day blurred into, and every moon and minute blurred into one another. So it was really an honor of, you know, this past year. And then this is an interesting project. I hope that comes back on. It ended during COVID, but this was, you know, my work is all about recycled materials, found materials. And these are heart arteries, artificial heart arteries. And so I did this whole series using the heart arteries that were all kind of in expiration. They'd expired. So they had to, you have to use the plastic in a certain amount of time. So this is one of the fun projects that I kind of fool around
I love
with.
that. I love when you were telling me it's a heart artery. Like, wait, what? What?
I know, one's heart connection, and
You
know.
give Suzanne anything, she'll weave it in like this. I love the gloves. The gloves are like unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm working on an heirloom collection. I got nostalgic. My mother passed away in the last month and a half, and so I started going through all of her things and grandmother's things and great grandmother's things. So I started weaving. On the left is a lot of the gloves that the female, you know, members of my family used. And then the right-hand side was a little sketchbook project I worked on. These are very small little weavings. And these are feathers that I found on the beach on Fire Island. So.
Yeah, beautiful. And then we'll talk more about mentoring, but this is just a snapshot.
Yeah, I love mentoring. I've done weaving workshops in this is just the last 2 years. I did one at collegiate school right before COVID. And then I've done many at Public Color, working with teenagers in middle school and high school. And then I did one at the Woodhull School, which is K through 6 out on Fire Island. So, which was really fun. And then I did this on the bottom right was one that I did by Zoom and during COVID, so people could learn how to weave and build looms out of boxes that they get from, you know, things that they've ordered. Yes. So it's kind of a do-it-yourself mentoring project. So.
And you're also, we will talk about it. And also your beautiful yoga practice that we're going to talk about that after. Okay. So we'll hold on that. She's got so much. It's just hard to keep her down, that girl. So, all right.
Good. Thanks,
Rebecca Moses, most people, because like we have such a love fest going on, people probably don't know that we've actually never met in person, that I've been such a fan because of her work that she does with Poochie. And then it was really over Instagram that we got so close, and I really wanted to share her because she kind of crosses over. Like, you know, she's the kind of person like that that is so inspiring, because you cross all the boundaries, Rebecca. So, okay, so you started out in fashion.
Yes. I like to think of myself as a designer without borders.
Exactly. No borders for Rebecca.
No borders. Yeah, I started in New York in the late 70s as a young, crazy designer who wanted to go off to design. My first job was designing for Pierre Cardin. And I went to Paris, worked with him, came back here and tried to bring his genius to the American market. And then a few years later, I started my own business, started the journey of a struggling young designer in New York. You can see the image on the left is one of my designs that I did during those years.
On Linda Evangelista, by the way.
On Linda Evangelista. Fantastic girl, fantastic model, a dream model. And then I stayed in New York until 1991 with a very colorful life, you know, experiencing all the ups and downs of what a designer's life could mean. And then I fell in love with an Italian, very dangerous thing to do. And I decided that I was going to move to Italy. And upon getting there, I wasn't sure what I was going to do or how I would do it, but I got hired as the creative director for Jenny, which was previously designed by Gianni Versace for about 18 years. And she wanted to change the image of the brand. And here I was, and I got signed for a 5-year contract. Then I started my own brand. Then I started consulting for other brands. And hello, oops.
Oops,
Hi,
you're here,
there.
you're here,
Okay.
you're here.
And then I got, started my own brand, Rebecca Moses, where I took cashmere to kind of a new level, really kind of exploring the sensuality, the color, breaking all the rules. And then I did some lifestyle with Pinaider, which was a very old brand of dating back to the 1700s from Florence. And then my life kind of turned. I had lost my husband and decided to come back to New York and decided to really explore my art and my creativity and give my boys and myself a kind of new chance on looking at life. And I started working with Vogue Italia, doing stories and illustrations, and then starting to work with other brands. So I wasn't creating products per se during those early years. I was really concentrating on the storytelling and developing my art. And then I hooked up with Ralph Pucci, and we decided to create a line of mannequins together. And they were created off of my women, which was celebrating the beauty and individuality and, you know, undefined beauty that exists, and the blending of beauty, and that we felt that the visual world really needed to tell a better story. And we took some of my art, we applied it on furniture. On the left, you see that table, which is from the Ralph Pucci collection, and I painted on the wood by hand. The right was a project I did with Cartel back in Italy, which was a celebration of Milan. And they asked a group of architects and designers to tribute Milano through their furniture. So that was quite fun. And I mean, all
right, wait, Rebecca.
Wait,
Rebecca, don't talk about the nurses yet. Well,
okay,
okay. All right, this is just unbelievable. First of all, Rebecca had to be on because she only draws women. Like, she only draws women. And you know, it's funny because you were drawing so many, but I never realized that was like the rule. But in any case, so go ahead. Sorry, Rebecca, go ahead.
So anyway, yeah, my art has always been about women because I find women a fascinating, they're fascinating. And we can talk about why I find them fascinating. You know, designing for them and dressing them for so many years, you learn so much about what makes women tick. And we have so much more in common than what separates us as women. And during COVID, I was very frustrated, like all of us, frightened and frustrated, knowing what I could do to help during this time. And, you know, when someone's asking you to stay home, that's all you want from me. You know, can I bring water? Can I bring food? And I decided to reach out to women around the globe and ask them if they would share their stories, whether they were serious, whether they were heartbreaking, cheerful, humorous, hysterical, it didn't matter. And in exchange, I would do a portrait of them. And together we would document what we were going through. And there were a lot of people alone, a lot of people facing real heartbreak, and kind of reaching out to a complete stranger and saying, I want to paint you, was kind of a win-win for all of them. And the letters flowed, and we're now about 410 women from 6 continents. And more things have evolved from these incredible women. It started out as the stay home girls, then it became the stay home sisters, and now it's the stay home sisterhood. And in the midst, these portraits here are from a layout from the New York Times when they did the piece on the 46 nurses that I honored by portraits, saying thank you. And those are currently on exhibit at the Guggenheim Pavilion in New York.
Amazing. Yeah.
And this illustration is from my Fashion of the Times, which was kind of just I felt there was a lot of depression out in the air, and I wanted to kind of I always find humor and laughter is the best medicine. And I figured if we can't laugh at what we're going through in a kind of ironic way, then, where are we going to go? So I started these illustrations, and this one you can see they're on 3 different lines, one unemployment, one for the vaccine, and one for a COVID test.
Can't stop. She just can't stop. She's just such a force of nature. We're going to talk. Well, I want to talk about the nurses, but let's first get through the bios. Thank you, Rebecca. Amazing. All right. So Pascal, so you were telling me, and this is a thing that I thought was like so interesting, because I asked you about becoming an architect and being a woman of color, and you said that you had to convince even your parents, like you've been convincing people your whole career. I love this about you. So Pascal, give us a quick cliff notes on your career.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I really hold so many hats and positions, one of which is associate at AJ. I'm also the president-elect of Noma National, and I'll be the 5th woman ever to hold that position in the organization's 50-year legacy, right? I'm on AIA board of directors and really just hold a few hats, but always kind of fighting to be part of the profession and having a strong presence there to make room and for advocate for women and people of color. And so I was always a little kid who loved to draw and create art. And so it was something that I wanted to do, but really having to convince my family that this makes sense, right? That this is a profession that I can enjoy and flourish within. And then, going into school, professor told me that I couldn't become an architect because I was Black and because I was a woman, which gave me the prominence of my purpose with a lot of the advocacy work that I do. So I'm the 315th living African-American woman in all of the United States, the 21st woman FAIA, and the 2nd women FAIA African-American in all of New York. And so I think part of the reason that the professor said that thing was the fact of the lack of knowledge about us. So I've started curating these exhibitions called Say It Loud. We've curated 18 so far, with another 9 planned this year. And it has been phenomenal. It has been featured at the United Nations. And during the opportunity for me to speak, I didn't want to just speak to what we had accomplished, but what I wanted to aspire to do as well. And so I asked these world leaders to help me make this a national movement. And they said, Pascal, this is the UN. We'll make this an international movement. So on March 25th, 2019, with Say It Loud Day.
Let's just make it an international movement.
Why not? So they translated the exhibition to 8 languages and distributed worldwide, and had teachers and students come and see the work of diverse designers from all over. And what's great is that it's not a traveling exhibition, but a traveling activation. So every new location we have to Say It Loud, we're elevating the identities and contributions of women and people of color of that community, which has been powerful. And then part of that is leveraging all this content. I now have 445 profiles of women and diverse designers from all over the world, and creating that content. So we do children's pop-up books called Learn Out Loud, where we take the same content and create affirmations that kids would respond and say, I can too become an architect. I can too change the world. And that's all kind of rooted in what Beyond the Built Environment, the organization is really about creating programs, initiatives that allows that connection and kind of offering of the profession to everyone. I also am an architect, right? So I definitely use that and utilize that. I'm Haitian in background, first generation here, but after the earthquake that happened in January of 2010, I actually lost a lot of family. And my first response was to get involved. And I was, again, denied the ability to calm down because I was too young. And I said, man, I'm working on projects all over the world, doing great things. So I'm going to find my way. So I did a few things. During my mentoring with ACE, I was able to work with the high school students and start designing a school campus to rebuild one that had that broken down. I also went to Haiti 4 or 5 times a year with Architecture for Humanities, How to Rebuild manual, and would translate the steps to the local contractors. So I'd go on construction sites and say, hey, you are powerful. You have all that you need and the tools to make a stronger and more sustainable and more safe built environment. Here are the things that you just need to know, so that it's not this helicopter, we come and impose the brilliance, but that if you just adjust these certain things, that will help. And seeing and empowering people to kind of build a stronger community has been really powerful and dynamic. I also like to work in a small scale, from chairs, competitions, again, giving back to my cultural background. I do a lot of public speaking and lectures, and also pushing for what I think design justice is in the built environment as well, including environmental justice. And so, there's even, in researching and understanding what happened in Haiti, 85,000 people now have amputations. And I'm not going to assume that all of them are lower limb, but I wanted to think, for a country that didn't have consistent power, how can I make architecture accessible to all? So with this project that we did in Milo, in a section of Haiti, I made all the buildings have an ADA ramp on the periphery that allows for the entire campus to be 100% accessible, and really thinking about what does accessibility mean through the built environment, whether that be cultural expressions, whether that be architectural or literal, but really embedding us, our identities, our culture, and engaging local communities as part of the design process.
Okay. All right. First of all right, Amy, bring everyone back together. I almost cannot handle all of you guys together. It's almost too much for one brain, too much inspiration for one. Yeah, Pascal. Oh yeah, Pascal's like, she's like a decent speaker, right? Like, she goes, I do a little speaking. Oh my God. Pascal, amazing. Unbelievable. But all of you guys have all traveled a different kind of journey. Look, I think it's really important for people to know that this does not come without struggles, right? It does not come without trying to find who you are, trying to find your voice, making mistakes, moving forward, moving backwards, moving forward. And so if any of you, like Aisha, let's start with you. I remember you telling me, when what's so beautiful that came out of your career, if you could kind of explain like how that happened, because it was through like really, really hardship.
Yeah. I will. And Cindy, I just wanted to note that what you've created here is very dangerous, bringing us all together.
That's why I say I have the best job in the world, right?
I'm very excited about this.
I know. Because you know what happens with me? I bring people together and then they go off and they do amazing things. As long as they still love me, I'm happy about it.
Yeah. And I know you designed this, You designed for this to happen. By design. So yes, what Cindy is referring to is at the height of my career, soon after I became partners with BBSEC and we founded Beersel Plus Sec together, and had kids and had all these responsibilities. I had uprooted BB from being an amazing award-winning designer, automobile designer for Renault. And we were now, working and living in New York together and doing like really amazing projects. And then boom, the economy crashes. And I thought, nothing is going to happen to us. We're too good for that. And of course, what did happen is almost all our clients took their work in-house, which was a very natural response for them to cut their costs. And we found ourselves without work for about a year. And even though I had been designing office systems for Herman Miller for many years at that point, nobody wanted to hire me because they were like, okay, you might design offices, but you've never worked in an office before, so you can't be hired. And that was my kind of like rock bottom moment. And what happened out of that is that was the beginning of me sitting down and thinking about how I think. And the reason for that is one of my oldest and dearest friends, Leah Kaplan, saw how frustrated I was And she said, well, look, you're a designer. You know how to turn constraints into opportunities. This is your constraint, but the opportunity is you have a lot of time in your hands. Why don't you use this time to think about how you think? Because she said, you think differently. And that's, I only needed one person to believe in me at that point. I was like, okay, really? So then I listened to Leah and I sat down and I started sketching and thinking about really, how do I think? And that was the, it took me about a year, but I developed deconstruction, reconstruction as our design process. And then I would show it to Leah and to my friends, and they would be like, yeah, this looks so complicated. And I'd be like, really? To me, it seems very straightforward. But anyways, long story short, I simplified it and I created this 4-step process. And then I had an interview with GE and showed it to them. GE loves, they were at the top at that moment, and they love process. So they looked at that and they were like, we want you to deconstruct and reconstruct value of design across all our businesses. So that was the turning point. And that since then, it allowed us to get into design strategy projects and use deconstruction, reconstruction as a co-design tool. But that was also the point where I was like, okay, can I deconstruct, reconstruct my life as like a proof point? And that became the beginning of Cindy, like you say, this other side of me. Transforming people's lives. And Pascal, you inspire me by what you're saying. So my goal is to help 1 million people transform their lives through design thinking across the globe. So working on that. And I need all of your help.
And I just want for all the viewers out there, because I know every single woman here just has such an unbelievable story. What I remember, Aisha, when we started to get to know each other, is how painful you said it was to, it's not easy for people out there. It is not easy. You have to dig really deep inside of yourself, because you said it was really, really hard to actually go through the pain of your talent, actually, and to get it out. So like I'm so grateful that you had that friend who said, you help all these companies. Hello, why don't you help yourself? Unbelievable. Suzanne, I think about you too, because you're such a strong woman, and you were kind of a powerhouse couple for
With
years.
Terry.
Yeah, with her husband at the time. But also you were deep, she's deep in the floor, now it's many things, but it was the flooring industry, which is primarily, God bless them all, we love them, but is the male dominated. And what was it? Yeah. She's like, oh right. And how hard was that for you to lead?
To lead? Or
to be a leader.
Yeah, I think it's a very delicate balance, and in the relationship that I had with Terry, it was a delicate balance, because I'm a very strong leader and I'm very passionate about my work, and going into the floor covering industry and trying to make change happen, have them think differently than the what was the last claim that came through here, so that you could evolve and really build and grow. That became more of the motto that I kept saying. You have to keep evolving, every step of the way. You have to do better every time. I think I'm most proud of the work that I did there with mentoring the other women that had been there and started in the sample department and that are now running divisions. In 18 years, I've seen a huge change in the women. And I think that by having me come in from the outside to help them see that they can have a voice, and everyone's opinion really matters as we're evolving and building color palettes and then constructions and the machines and stuff like that. So it's it's a delicate balance in these, you know, I mean, Aisha knows too, in the furniture industry. I mean, you know, you're working, and I was with Knoll for like a good 18 years, again, primarily men in those kind of big corporate positions. And now with Technion, you know, and, you know, passion comes off sometimes difficult for men to hear when you are telling them that maybe they need to think slightly differently, you know, so it's challenging.
Yeah. No, but you seem to handle it all so well. So just so everybody knows, also out there, is that like she created a brand called Loom. So then she created this textile brand through Technion, like amazing folks at Technion, I have to say. But still, like I remember when that was going on, other stuff was going on, and you know, and you just kept elevating. You just kept, you know, wanting to get that brand out in the way that you could see it, right? Yeah. And that was like, hats off to you, Suzanne, for that.
Thank you so much. It's been, I love listening to everyone's story. My gosh, I'm like,
I know, it's crazy. I know it's crazy.
I've done so little compared to everyone. It's so interesting. What a nice mix.
Yeah,
beautiful selection.
I know. I love you guys so much. So Mina, it's very important that we talk about like the big firms, because they are the giants of our industry. I think they are really coming huge strides really within the firms. And like I said, like I keep seeing like even the healthcare work from Perkins and Will is like so good these days. I'm just so proud of the big firms. But how hard was it for you to grow and have your voice heard?
Yeah, no, I think, you know, it is a different world with these large firms, no doubt, Cindy. And I think a lot of them started out, especially like I would definitely say Perkins and Will, we started out as a heavy A firm. You know, the interiors group wasn't, you know, really substantial. And I think it was truly because of, now we are a multidisciplinary firm. Yeah. We are a design firm, an ideas firm. But there were people that came before me that were very essential, like Joan Blumenfeld is an amazing woman. She was the global head of interiors for our firm for a long time. Because of her, a lot of women in interior design have built their voice. Yes. And she's one of those individuals that is the biggest advocate for me and my growth in the firm. Without her, I wouldn't have evolved the way I did at the firm. And I have like the utmost respect. I tell designers all the time that we all should have an executive board for ourselves. And Joan Blumenfeld is on my executive board because she is that type of person that I could call anytime, reach out anytime, and be able to answer any question and coach me in a direction that's really for the betterment of me and the collective. And I mean, I think Aisha said the same thing today, is that it's so important to have those people around you, because without and it could just be one person. And she was my one person in that. And I think it's quite mandatory for us to really think about who's on our executive board. So I think growing up in an organization where there's no one at the firm that looks like me in a leadership of design. Yeah. So that's also a strange place to be in. So sometimes you can look and say, oh, I aspire to be like that person. But there was no one that had, you know, my specific profile that fit that. So I have to say thanks to all the people that came before me that platformed the perception of a brown woman leading design in a large design firm.
Yeah, can I just, congratulate. Yes. Well, first of all, I have to say that my experience, because like as an editor, so I've been on those juries, Mina. I've been on these design juries in Perkins and Will, and with Ed Feiner, and they would always, they would have these juries, and it would always be like architects, and I was like the interior design voice, but I was a lad voice, and I'd always get a couple architects on my side, and and try to anyway. But it was very helpful, and they would, I have seen over time how, as you say, like it did, they saw, oh, the opportunity is in interiors and being multidisciplinary. So again, like, I'm very proud of them and you. So you're going to be, on the West Coast. So West Coast is representing today, for IIDA president-elect. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. So, creativity takes courage. And
Yeah.
I have to say that, the platform I have at Perkins and Will specifically is really, we teach this class on risk and innovation, and it's using the right words to persuade others to take risks. And that's why a lot of our work in this whole aspect of storytelling is so essential. So I think I spend a lot of time teaching, providing the kind of psychologically safe spaces so people can kind of provide these designs that are out there and then be able to persuade and influence clients to talk about them. So I think it's important to provide that psychological safety. And that's really my big job as a design leader at the firm, is allow people to kind of explore themselves, provide them the platforms to have the voice. So with IIDA SoCal, I mean, my goodness, we have a huge region out there and some incredible creative minds. So I think every day is about allowing people to understand that about themselves, just like all of these women on this panel, is you had to have one or two people that say, you have this is your superpower. Right. So go use that superpower. So it's my duty with my teams and with this position to get out there and make sure I recognize everyone's superpower.
Yeah. And I would just like to say that, also the reason why the big firms moving forward in a really positive way is really, really important, because the big firms are influencing the influencers of the world, right? Aisha is too, because she's doing it in a different way with the big, but the big firms, again, whether they're corporate Aisha or whether they're, whether you're doing headquarters or healthcare, this is changing the world. And so those voices are really, really critical in the big firms for sure. So, my hats off to you. Rebecca, I want you to tell the story of this. This is so touching. So, Rebecca is, first of all, talk about generosity. I just want to say this. She makes her living doing her paintings and her illustrations. By the way, I have a beautiful one she did. I was a stay-home sister, so I got one too. But she literally it's giving it away. She wants the story, and then she is, giving away her art, which, I think women just are the most generous people. So first of all, I just want to thank you, Rebecca, for that. But then tell the story about the nurses, because it's so touching.
Well, first of all, I got a phone call one day from a lady who said, my sister, I would like to recommend her as a stay-home girl, but she doesn't stay home. And she's a nurse at Mount Sinai Hospital. She's heading nursing, and these were in the dark days. Not that they're great right now, but dark days. Okay. And I said, absolutely, let's make her our first stay-home sister hero. And in May, we went on Stay Home Sisters. I created Stay Home Sisters Live so that the women all could have a platform to talk, to be seen, to be heard. Because I think so many women need to be heard. There are so many amazing women that don't have a platform because they're not famous, because they're not celebrities, and they're doing remarkable things. So I said, let's bring the girls on and let's just give them a voice. And I had Linda Valentino come on, and she discussed what she'd witnessed through the darkest moments. And then it was such a moving, there was not a dry eye who watched that. And she turned to me and said, Rebecca, I am really trying to reimagine the branding of nursing. And your painting of me really moved me. Would you help me do something? This is the year of the nurse. What can we do? And I said, what do you want? 50 portraits? I'll do you 50 portraits. Whatever you want, I'll do it. So they went through their hospitals all around the New York City area, and all from pediatrics to oncology to whatnot, and all recommended various nurses. They sent me pictures. I decided to paint them in their real clothes, not their scrubs, because I wanted them to be seen as individuals. And I've done 46 portraits of them. I've endowed it to the hospital because what these women and men, and the reason everyone says, why didn't you draw the men nurses? And I said, I don't draw men.
Right.
It's not, I love men. I think men are fabulous.
Me too.
I just don't draw men. And they have no necks. Anyway, so they're on exhibit there right now. And it really shows the collage of diversity, of age, of specialities, of visions, of passion. And these women are remarkable, and they all deserve to be applauded, as do the women in the Stay Home Sisters. I mean, they're remarkable women. I couldn't ask for a more remarkable group of women from all walks of life, from all backgrounds. It's something for me right now. I get quite saddened by the darkness of our times, the hatred of our times, the ignorance of our times. And I really have learned that through art and creativity, we can really bring together people. And that is my goal in my art, to unite and uplift people, to give women dignity, to give them a voice, to let them know that their uniqueness is what defines them.
Yes. Well, so listen, so you guys, so if I don't know if you were counting, but she's done almost 500 illustrations. My goal is that she gets some sort of fabric, a floor, some sort of collection going in our world, because I can't even tell you, this generosity, this spirit comes out. By the way, when she did the illustration of me, I don't know, she did it in an hour, 2 hours. I don't know. It was like, boom, she did this, she did the illustration.
I became rather bionic during this time. When you see how it affects people, it was like, I got to get this girl's you read a letter, you're crying reading the letter, and you're just like, I'll stay up all night. I got to get this done. And that was 2020.
Who says one person can't make a difference? Honestly, I mean, Rebecca, unbelievable. Now I know Pascal, so for everyone out there, I actually heard of Pascal because she is part of a dynamic duo, which is her sister. And her sister was, I gave a HIP awards to last year, and I kept hearing, Fiji. And I kept hearing about like the sister. I'm like, oh my God, there's two in the family. This is like too much to bear. So Pascal, so Pascal clearly is going to be, has already started becoming an emerging voice, which is fantastic. But I just want to know where that courage that you can make a difference. I think Rebecca, you just are doing it and it happens. But like you're still like, you're such a youngin'. Like, how is this possible?
Well, I mean, don't let the baby face fool you. I do have some age on me. No, I think really it's the nurturing of your community. And I think that goes back to what we talked about earlier, which is about mentorship and really having a mentor and then also mentoring the next generation behind you. But, we talked about the executive board. I always talk about it in the frames of the context of the community itself, where I'm saying, my mom really helped me understand what the profession meant by signing me up for a What's an Architect seminar at One Penn Plaza, right? And just making sure that I knew what I was getting into, because everybody was very like, I don't know about this, Pascal, right? But then once we were all on board, it was, you can do this. I also went to an all-girls preparatory high school in Queens called the Mary Louise Academy. And my education was, again, infused with this statement, as a woman, you can change the world. You will change the world. Just here's your network right here, right? And so so much of my identity was elevated and celebrated and educated about. that really stepping into the profession where I was not part of the majority, that was where I really need to understand. But because I had the support system of my community walking into the space, that made a world of difference. And I'm also going to shout out NOMA here, because they were the first entity and organization that gave me the opportunity to publicly speak. And I know you're joking, Cindy, about, I speak a little bit. I've done like over 100 something speaking lectures and panel discussions. I'm also very loud and not shy about stepping forward. But really the crux of everything that I speak to is empowering other people. Because with the support that I received from my communities, those organizations, I then push forward to make space for us, not as a help to us, but to say, no, we deserve to be here. And, we don't need to defend our identities or existences. We're helping you out by being in this room.
Exactly. Beautiful. Yeah. No, I was kind of playing around with you, being a little modest, like she's like a powerhouse. By the way, I would just like to say, when I became, interior design is 90 years old next year. Wow. And I'm the first woman editor-in-chief. And what's interesting, I don't know that I really sometimes when you're doing things for the first time, you don't really understand the weight of any of that. But looking back, I think, wow, that was kind of a big deal. Whereas Rebecca, in the fashion industry, editor-in-chiefs were primarily women, but in our industry, it was mainly men. Totally. Architects. By the way, we love men. It's just today, it's all about the women. Okay, let's just throw it. Yeah. Okay, so we can go over a little bit. I would like maybe for each of you to give some sort of advice that that you learned as you were going through your career, that maybe you can just impart. You've given a lot of inspirational stories, so that's great. But just like one last nugget, Aisha. Wow. No pressure.
All right. No pressure. Oh my God. So this is actually something that I'm really appreciating during COVID. And so the first thing that I'll go with my gut feeling, Cindy, the thing that came to my mind is I'm really realizing that helping others helps me. And so that kind of spirit of collaboration and bring other people up or coming together with them, that has changed my my attitude. And so now, as soon as I can reframe something in that context, like instead of me, is this helping somebody else? I get so excited about doing something. And Rebecca, when I was listening to you talk about like, I need to do this, I'm going to stay up and do this for this person. Like you would never, like I would never stay up for myself. Like right. I love sleeping, right. But then what you said resonated with me so much. So
yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there's no way Rebecca could have done that if she wasn't doing it for somebody else. Like there's just no way, because that's your energy. Thank you, Aisha. Suzanne?
I would say follow your charm, follow what charms you, and be careful to listen to yourself, that little voice inside of yourself. And if you have aversion to things, step away from it and pay attention. I think a lot of people do things and they get themselves into it, and then they're like, what am I here? Why did I do this? And I think really following what charms you will guide the best way forward. And always with others is better. I think, sharing yourself, and don't hoard thoughts or ideas or anything, like always be open and share concepts and ideas. I've been around too many people that hoard ideas and thoughts and stuff, and it's like you're holding back. I mean, how can we make this as good as possible? So
Yeah,
I think-
Suzanne has, just so you know, like Suzanne has a lot of friends in the industry and they're all like kind of besties. Do you know what I mean? Like Suzanne has that way about her where you could see that she wants to do things with others because they gravitate towards you, Suzanne. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Mina, you're up.
Okay, closing words. In the design industry, you know, we make the unimaginable possible, right? So we're like visionaries, right? So I think a lot about just simple things like how we produce our images and our renderings, and thinking about, you know, the, you know, individuals that aren't represented. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about making sure that we create a world for each other as we're designing our lives, as we're designing built environments, that is really about all of us. You know, we're designing for the collective. And I think that's just something to remember, because sometimes when I look around and I only see men in a visual, or if I only see this one type of race in a visual, we're not doing justice. And I think that was some beautiful things that we heard about the group today, is represent the world we want to live in. And I think that's what you did, Cindy, by bringing all of us together. All of us have unique stories, but I think as designers and artists, we have to remember that as well. So I would definitely say that aspect of it. And then there's another mention of manifesting, and I think that's really important. I think when you say things out loud, you can manifest them to happen. And I think that's really important. Other people can give you that creative confidence, but you yourself say it out loud, share it to the world. It's so important.
I completely agree. You know, lots of times when we're doing things for the issue, I'll say to Helene, my beautiful, wonderful side right hand, I'll say, okay, we're working on the art issue. Okay, we want the best projects, come to us. And it always happens. It always happens. Oh, yeah. Manifest. Okay, Rebecca.
Oh my God. Well, first of all of you women are so friggin' fabulous. That's all I can just say. You are role models beyond. And I think that my whole life has been an open exploration for me. And there's been things that have happened that I've loved, and there's things that didn't happen and I really wanted them to happen. And my sister, Deborah, always says to me, be careful what you wish for. And having a great confidence in the stars, the universe, and the greater powers of the universe. I sometimes think you got to let things flow. And when you don't get something, it could be a gift. So you've got to really believe in your journey, in your vision, and know that there's a world around you that you have to respect, that you have to be humble. You know, because there's so much to be learned. I am learning every single day. I'm learning about the world around me, and I'm learning about myself and my own ability to grow. Okay. Because I think that people think, oh, well, I've gotten to this stage of my life. What else is there? And it's like, oh my God, what a sad thought. Yeah. I mean, there's so much to do, and there's so much to create. And if you can have a sensitivity to the world around you and to the people around you, and empathy, you will be a better creator. That's my biggest discovery. And I've had a road that has had it all, and I have no regrets. I don't regret the things that maybe didn't work out, and the things that did work out, I felt, well, maybe I should have done it this way, but maybe I could have done it that way. No looking back, look forward, learn from where you've come from. And really, I think if you can be humble and respectful, your creativity will blossom. There is no roadmap. There is not, none of us have this roadmap. I mean, I'm 62 and I feel like I'm 22. And there's so much I want to create. There is so much I want to accomplish. And I think if you can live like that, you will do good in this world. And I really do believe, as all the women have said, you have to stop thinking just of yourself. You've got to go outside yourself. If I can bring joy through a design, through a painting, through a way of life, through a story, then I'm doing good for this world. And we do have to think about doing good in this world.
Sure. Thank you, Rebecca. That's beautiful. Thank you. Okay, Pascal, you're going to close us out. Well, I'm closing us out. You're almost closing us out.
So I mean, really tough shoes, high heel shoes to follow. But I would say really fight for justice everywhere, on every level, in every corner, on every aspect of what we do. Fight for justice, and that is part of who you are. I'm really proud of the position that I have at AJ Associates, where I'm both an architect and an activist. I am being my full self when I walk into a space. I'm bringing those values, those ethoses to the conversations, the discussions, to the community engagements that we're doing. That's really powerful, that we don't need to filter who we are or filter our identities because it makes some uncomfortable. No, it's part of who you are. It's part of your thought process. It's part of your uniqueness. Make it be part of your story, and not be unabashed about that. And when injustices occur, don't just be mad, make policy, hold accountability. Right. I create a lot of these initiatives, whether it be the Say It Loud exhibition that created the Great Diverse Designers Library. The reason I called it great is when I Google search the word great architects, one woman comes up, Zaha Hadid, in the breadth of now to all the way to Michelangelo and Raphael. Right. And so when I went to Google and said, why is this? They said there's just not enough content that call you all great. So I made a library. I called this great. I have an MOU that I'm trying to get publications to commit to showing and elevating us. Really driving policies and procedures wherever we can of accountability. And even in my role at AIA New York, as part of the board of directors, and helping us pen that statement on criminal injustice, and really taking our responsibility for how the built environment has social impacts and are marginalizing a lot of people, and how we can start being part of the process of dismantling that injustice. So my big advice to anyone who's out there listening is fight for justice for you and for your community and for all those in society. Thank you.
Woo. Hallelujah. 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 And
cool.
First of all, you guys were just, unbelievable. Let's just do it every week. Let's just do something. I just want to say that when, you guys are making me think about it. When I was like in the position to become the editor, I did think about like, what did I want that to be? And for me, there was only one word, and it was to be of service. And I had to create my own definition of what this job was going to be, and then I had to live by it. And when I think of the people that have really mattered in my career, and I'm looking at all of you, that you are people, talented, passionate, creative people who also have that instinct for service to help others. And when you get, and Rebecca, you said it, when you give, and that is what I'm feel like that's my role is supposed to, is that it comes back, and then that's how we're able to then push it back out again. So I want to thank all of you for your service to all the creative industries, and for being such wonderful leaders in the field and emerging voices that are really going to shape the next generations. Really, I'm humbled. I love you guys so much. We're going to keep conquering the world together. And there's so many amazing women out there, really. International Women's Day, we celebrate all of you with so much love for women. And I do want to thank Williams Sonoma, who female CEO, female CFO. That's unbelievable. They support women. We thank you so much for supporting us. Yes. So God bless everybody. Go forth and design. We love you.
Cindy.
Cindy,
Thank
you. Thank you.
More together. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you so much
Thank
for
you
bringing
all.
us together.
Thank you.
Bye.